What's going on, YouTube? I'm the History Buff, and welcome to my channel. So I'm incredibly stoked about today because this is the first day that I will ever listen to the band Sabaton. And you might be thinking, hey, you're into history. You've never heard of Sabaton. Well, I never have. And I can't really tell you why I never have. I've been aware of the fact that they exist, really for no other reason than their drummer lives with Laura Jansen and their daughter Freya. And I also knew they do historically themed music, but not much beyond that. I did think about checking them out, but then there came a time where I thought about starting up a YouTube channel, and then I stayed away from them like the plague because I thought it'd be great to explore their music with all of you. So here I am. I don't know a thing about this band. I'm just going to guess that they're from Scandinavia, possibly. I was told that one of their songs is in Swedish, so there's another clue, maybe. But beyond that, I don't know their names. I don't know a thing about them. So please, in the comments, school me. Let me know about this band, history, all that good stuff. I'd rather learn it that way than Google, to be honest with you. I do want to give a special shout out to Lizard71 from the Reacticide Discord server for giving me some really good recommendations on how to start my journey with Sabaton. He did say most people start with Bismarck, I think, but he recommended I start with Night Witches. So of course I started looking into Night Witches. I wanted to at least find out what it was about, so maybe I could offer some kind of historical context for the video. And what I found was incredibly interesting. So if you're not aware, the Night Witches were basically an all-female bomber pilot regiment, Regiment 588, I think, that were mobilized by Joseph Stalin in 1942 during World War II. I guess he mobilized them on the southern front, the Russian front, against Germany. And the story is incredible because these women were given really janky biplanes to use, basically crop dusting planes. It was basically World War I technology they were working with. They were given 1 or 2 bombs to drop at a time. So they spent a lot of their time going back to their base and grabbing a couple more bombs and flying back to their target again. But I guess besides the fact that they're all female, the other unique part of this story is that as they approached their targets, they would shut down their engines and just glide through the air as they approached their targets again. And I guess the sound that they made became infamous as the Germans heard them kind of zipping through the air coming towards them. They started calling them Night Witches because they said they kind of sounded like witches on broomsticks coming for them. So that's really all I know. Super cool, interesting story. Overwhelmingly, the version that people are asking me to look at is the animated story. So this should be pretty cool. Again, I have no idea what to expect. So let's go ahead and check this out. All right, so here we go. We're going to check out Night Witches, the animated story video. Again, it's animated. I don't know if this is going to be like some G.I. Joe stuff or what's going on. I've also heard this is a power metal band. So I kind of have a theory as to what's going to happen here. And if it's what I think it's going to be, I know I'm going to love it. And if you're a special geek like me, just like my other videos, stick around afterwards. And if you do want to talk a little bit of history, there's some things I think I want to talk about with this. So stick around if you want to check that out. But for right now, let's get to it.
The Germans are resting behind the lines of the Eastern Front, their tents in neat rows. All is in order in the quiet and still of the night. It's cold, and the winter snow crunches under the jackboot of a guard. Looking up into the sky, the snow starts to drift down. It's peaceful here.
For now.
Was that a noise from the sky? No, it's just the wind. Suddenly, piercing the still of the night, there's an otherworldly scream and a whoosh as a dark form speeds by. And was that a woman's laughter in the distance? There are no engine sounds, and the suddenly fearful German soldier
that's
loses.
Cool. So if you look real close, they look like witches. So sometimes they come through, they look like biplanes, but then it's playing with their minds already. They're seeing witches on brooms. This is cool.
Footing and whispers under his breath, "Die Nachthexen."
Noctis.
The world is all at once a bloom of fire and ash, and two more dark forms pass without a sound. Hearing the whooping and celebration of these supernatural creatures, the guard shakes himself from his fear and calls out, "Die Nachthexen! Die Nachthexen! The Night Witches!" In the sky above, 3 planes of the soon-to-be famous 588th Night Bomber Regiment, their engines now running, turn east for home. Time to rearm and refuel for another mission. Coming into land, they're greeted by their commissar, Yevdokia Rashkevich.
Now, real quick, I do have a question. So I noticed the other video when I was looking at which one to do is 3 minutes long, and this one is 7 minutes long. And I'm hearing a lot of cool, chanting and some symphonic elements and things like that. And I'm just curious if that's a part of the original song or not, or if that's something that's added. So let me know.
The young girls that form the pilots and navigators are between the ages of 17 and 26. They are desperate to take the fight to the Germans and have traveled from all over Russia to join the all-women regiments. The 588th is where the least skilled of all the women are placed, but that didn't stop them from carving their name in history. In the early days, they were largely ridiculed by the Soviet men. Given men's uniforms that were too big and shoes all of the same size, the women did the best they could with the clothes, making them fit with belts or filling the large men's shoes with stuffing. The equipment they were given was woefully out of date. The Polikarpov PO2 was a 2-man trainer, underpowered and made of cloth and wood. These old string bags were nicknamed crop dusters, or even worse, sewing machines, due to the noise their tiny engines made. But the women of the 588 ignored the taunts, and despite the odds, turned the plane's shortcomings to their advantage.
I hope everybody realizes how cutting edge this is. I'll admit my concentration is not in World War II. It's more like medieval Western Europe and things like that. And but yeah, women in the military to begin with at all, and then to be pilots and all of that. This is amazing. I mean, we're talking 1942. So in America, I know this wasn't happening. I believe the women were back home doing, a lot of rubber drives. And if they were in the military, they were mostly medics, not medics, but more dealing with, taking care of wounded and things like that. So yeah, this is a big deal.
The planes at maximum speeds were far below the stall speeds of any of the German fighters, giving them a tight turning circle. They were almost impossible to hit. They were susceptible to small arms fire and anti-aircraft guns, so their strategy was to attack in threes, with a navigator in each plane. At her signal, the pilot would cut the engines and swoop in slowly, silently, dropping their bombs, dealing death from above. Unexpected, undetected, stealth perfected.
Wow.
If necessary, the other two would draw fire from the fighters or from the...
Wait, this is a music video, right? I just completely forgot that this is a music video. This is incredible.
Ground. They slept during the day and rose at dusk to take their vengeance on the invaders. This unnatural bravery and their stealth tactics earned them their title, the Night Witches. The German ace, Johannes Steinhoff, said, "We simply couldn't grasp that the Soviet airmen that caused us the greatest trouble were in fact women. These women feared nothing."
Wow. Okay, so I think we're getting into the actual song now. Just really quick about that. Again, it's incredible. Even their commanding officer was a female. And I did read also, they didn't quite cover it, but because their planes were so slow, it was very hard for the fighter planes, the German fighter planes, actually get like a good angle on them, because by the time they got in range, they were already kind of passing them up. So, when you have another plane that's matching your speed, you can kind of zero in behind them. They couldn't do that here. So that's pretty cool. And again, they're dealing with basically World War I technology. So, all right. So I think we're going to get into the music here. So here we go. That is so cool. Okay, I gotta say this, and I hope you guys don't take this the wrong way. There's a reason I love power metal. I was born 78, right? It speaks to my 80s soul. This is what commercials sounded like back then. This is what the cartoons I watched sounded like. This music. I know it sounds crazy, sounds cheesy, and I'm not making fun of this in any way, shape, or form. This, I could tell this is gonna be my new favorite band, like hands down. With the music, the sound, I already love power metal. And it's not really just this. I mean, even Unleash the Archers, something about it speaks to my 80s childhood soul. It's everything that I used to watch. Even in the like Nintendo games I played, there was that same kind of sound there. Like even in some guitar tone. It's hard to explain, but this is amazing. And I kind of, I'm not looking at the lyrics, but I can hear some of the things, Mission Undetected, some of the things that were talked about. But no, this is cool. All right. You can move just a fight that attacks me in the dark. Even through the night, the witches on the fight. Never miss their mark. Wings of death, prepare to meet your fate. Night Bomber Regiment 588. I like how he rolls his R's. Unexpected wings of glory, tell the story. Deviation, undetected, stealth perfected. Okay, so I do have a question. I can't wait to see these guys live, because it sounds like they all sing. Like I'm hearing at least 3 or 4 other voices in there that are kind of like answering the lead singer, I imagine. So that's cool that they're all singing. If they are, that is. And I love how he rolls his R's too. That's super cool. Again, I don't know what country they're from. I don't know if that's just his style of singing or if that's part of the accent. This is so cool. Now, if you noticed a second there, sometimes they drop the bombs from the wings of the plane. Looks like they pull a lever, but then I saw somebody kind of lob it out the side. And again, that's something else that I saw when I researched this a little bit. How they could carry 2 total, but then sometimes they try to carry more. But even then, they weren't able to carry probably as much as they should have. But yeah, I'm sorry, I wanted to mention that. I don't know. Wings of glory, tell the story. Deviation, undetected, stealth perfected. Ooh. God. Dude, I bet their concerts are epic. Uh-oh. Oh, she's pissed. You done messed up, AA Ron. She threw her gun at him. She's like, or maybe that was your slipper. No, never mind. That's a bad joke. Something else too that I saw when I looked at this. Out of hundreds of missions, and I can't remember how many total women did this. I think they only lost like 26 or something, which is a pretty good number. I mean, it's never a good number, but all things considered. And it was kind of a neat shot too when that one plane was on fire and it was going down, but she's like, "Screw it, I still got a job to do," and she still dropped the bomb. That was pretty cool. You know, it's amazing how powerful of a message you can deliver with, you know, with this kind of animation. What? She's gonna throw the gun. That's screw it. In the depths of Ellis Island? God.
32 women, both pilots and navigators, never came home.
Oh, 32.
The 588th became highly decorated and respected, flying more than 23,000 sorties, dropping over 3,000 tons of bombs. 23 Night Witches were awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union, although they were disbanded just 6 months after the war and not allowed to fly in the victory parade, given their planes were so slow. From 1956, after she retired from active service, their commissar Yevdokia Rashkevich took it upon herself to find the site of every single one of her girls that was downed, to mark the place and to pay her respects to each one of the incredibly brave Night Witches.
Oh, she's standing there with the band. Oh, that's so cool. It's like she knew she was there, you know, but she wasn't. She turned around and wow. Okay, that was cool. That's a good place to start. All right. I guess yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, so I honestly don't know what more I could want from a band. Never mind their incredible talent. Obviously they're talented. I imagine they put on some killer shows and they're so into history. I didn't mention this, but when I did research this song, I went to their website and I saw it was basically like, I thought I was looking at this like Smithsonian Institute of history, all of the things that were on there. I didn't want to delve too deep, but I'm excited to continue to look at it. I mean, these guys are obviously incredibly into history. It looked like they had some collaboration on there with some historians and maybe a history channel and stuff like that. So again, I am super stoked to dig into this further. So please let me know whatever you can about this band and where I should go next. So I did have a theory as far as what they were going to do with this song, and they knocked it out of the park. And here's what I mean. And if you want to go, you can leave now. That's fine. I'm going to geek it out for just a second though with historiography, just really quick. I got to say it was incredibly refreshing to see a romantic view of war. And I know that's weird to hear me say that. And here's why I'm saying that. Romanticism was very popular, certainly back in the ancient times, but then there was kind of like a revival in the 1800s. And what I mean by that, with romanticism, people think about love and about courtship and all that, and it is about that sometimes. But just like it sounds, romantic style comes from the Greco-Roman times, basically. I mean, think like Homer's Iliad or Odyssey, or some of those other works, the epic works where, you know, everybody is pristine. You've got these gods, you've got these heroes that just don't make any mistakes. They're perfect, they're pristine. And we definitely saw a revival of that in the 1800s. That's when a lot of the Arthurian legends were kind of like republished and told. That's when one of my favorite authors, Sir Walter Scott, wrote tons of books about the Crusades. He wrote poems about Scottish battles and things like that. And I just love just romantic view of history, because you've got a spectrum to deal with basically when you talk about history or things like war. On the one side, you have romanticism, where you look at everything through rose-colored glass. Everything's wonderful, right? The battles were just glorious, and the heroes were perfect. And then on the other side, you either have like an apologetic view of history, where everything's horrible, everything's bad, or maybe even a nihilistic viewpoint of things. And you could fall in that trap with anything, even with love. Things that you think should be full of romance, things that are beautiful. If you look long enough at them and deep enough at them, you can become nihilistic. For example, if you look at some of the works of like Richard Dawkins, he'll basically tell you love is really nothing more than you trying to pass down your genetic information, throughout the generations. Even the love that parents have for their children, again, it's protecting your genetic information. So when you look at things that way, it really just takes the magic out of things. And so that's kind of why I say this is refreshing, because you don't see a lot of this anymore, where people basically sing the glories of bygone battles and all of that. People are too busy talking about how terrible war is and things like that. But there is definitely a special time and a place for this kind of message, honoring the brave soldiers, the people who have died for certain causes and things like that. And it also helps in just bringing certain groups of people together. So kudos to them for doing this. And again, I look so forward to delving into more of their music. So that's all I have for tonight. Again, if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe, and let me know where to go next with this amazing band. So as always, please take care of yourselves and be safe.